Salute family and welcome back to another video. This is Black Truth United. Today on the Discovery Channel, we're going to be uncovering a unique but growing species in the black community called panderbears. Not panderbears, but pander-bears. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention the first individual to properly identify and address this species in the black grassroots, and that is Brother Great Black Shark, aka GBS. Alright, let me drop the accent. That one actually does require a lot of effort, believe it or not. But I did want to show you this video, which is from GBS. It's the first time that I ever heard this. If you want to see the entire video, the title is Fat versus Thick, the Big Difference Discussion. And if you can't tell by the title, GBS is basically breaking down the difference between what people call thick and what people call fat. Obviously, this is in regards to females. Now, you would think this would be very straightforward, but unfortunately you had males, not men, but males, popping up under a Twitter post that GBS made, attempting to blur the lines and add confusion, or rather lies. So, for context's sake, that's what's being discussed in the clip. And before I go ahead, I want to say that this is fair use. Fair use.
You have to tell yourself that women like on the left, you have to say, well, they thick too. No, they're not.
I did have to blur things up. They are clothed, but I just don't want anything in the algorithms to trigger. You can still kind of tell the one on the left has rolls and probably hasn't visited an exercise facility in the past year or two. The one on the right is naturally toned and thick from the waist down.
And I'm not even trying to be cruel to any of our heavyset sisters. The point that I'm making here is, just like we went over that crap about Derek Jump Off Jackson, men that sit there and lie to you and don't tell you the truth don't mean you no good. And it come right down to your looks. I'm not saying you have to walk up and insult no big sister. I would never do that. Okay? I'm not saying that if you a brother, once again, that like big women, that is anything wrong with that. Not saying that. What I am saying is you're not going to tell the rest of us that what's on the left is the same as on the right. Okay?
As you can tell, GBS is being very objective here. He's not beating up on the sisters. In fact, if you watch the video from the beginning, the whole first half, about an hour or so worth of footage, Great Black Shark focuses on the health risks that come with being overweight. It's the only people who care about you will tell you harsh/difficult truths. Let's let it continue.
Just like I said in the tweet, what I said is the truth that you can visibly verify. We say think we talking about below the waist, okay? And we're going to get into some more things that prove that here. So now that I've given you your little about a minute and some change worth of fame, that's all you're going to get from me, more simp boy. So before you ever come on my page and try to criticize me, you might want to think twice. Because see, now that we going into a new year, I just may have to prove a point on this. Don't never come at me about no kind of caliber of women, boy. You better stay in your lane, Junior. So we're going to get to the next one here.
So this male was a little bit different than a panderbear. This is a simp, and we'll cover the differences later on. Now GBS is about to go into his discussion about a panderbear. There are differences.
Okay, so I ain't going to quite call this one a simp that's coming up. This is another type of problem we got out here in society. Ladies and gentlemen, guard yourselves, because we have some wild animals that have escaped from the zoo. And it's called, and this is a dangerous animal too. Oh, this motherfucker is dangerous. We need to have signs up telling people not to feed these bastards. This is a panderbear. Yes, a panderbear. That's right. A motherfucker that just sit up here pandering to folks, not telling you the truth. Just like DJ Jump Off Jared Jackson. Let's read what he had to say. He thought that he was giving me some edification on what I just said, which we can clearly, visibly verify, and we've done that with video earlier. Let me get his voice ready. There's two different thick. Should have said two different types. There's two different thick. The one on the right is collie thick, and the one on the left is down south thick. No, panderbear, no. What's on the left is fat anywhere. I'm sorry, it is. What's on the left is fat anywhere, bro. Now you being a panderbear, and I ain't gonna lie, he looked kind of dusty. He did look kind of dusty, man. I see what I started to do. Y'all better understand something, boy. I usually do educational content, but I'm gonna give some of you clowns a warning when you come over to my platforms trying to get your jokes off. if you unleash the petty in me, look, there's some people that know me offline. You thought the stuff that you seen going on with petty. Let me tell you something. I have second to none animation skills. I will embarrass your ass and make you famous in ways that I will run your ass off the internet. I'm warning you, don't come over here playing with me. This is the wrong person to do that to, you panderbears.
GBS is not lying. He is among the pettiest in the newblackmedia. Certainly pettier than I am. He typically keeps his content educational, but if you try him, he will retaliate. I've seen it happen. I put him up there in the category of damn near Tyreek, Red Joker, Black Alpha Network. Petty, but in a good way. And he'll give you an opportunity to stand down, but if you don't take that, hey, that's on you.
That's not cool, man. Don't lie to these women like that, man. Again, you don't have to insult sisters, but don't be trying to say that, okay, down south, the one on the left is considered thick down here. No, what you should say is there's more. Now, this is true. There's more brothers down south that like that body type, okay? There's more down south brothers that like that body type, but they don't try to draw no types of illusions about those being heavy-set women, okay? And see dudes like this, let me go ahead and say something to you. Hide your kids right quick, because I got to use this language. Let me tell you something, panderbears. Not just this one on the screen here. Negro, you're not going to get, I'm going to clean it up. Negro, you're not going to get no box by sitting here pandering to women like that, okay? Even the big, fluffy, juicy ones that you trying to call thick, they ain't going to give you nothing, man. Haven't you simps and panderbears learned that yet? You sitting up here caping for these women and lying to them, man. Look, unless you look like Derrick Jackson and you got this kind of bread, it ain't going to work, bruh. It ain't going to work. Let me tell you what you going to be. You going to be the goofball that she call up when she want to do things like discuss women's issues, or, you might get to pay for a meal or two, especially if she that size over there on the left. And after you do all of that, she going to send you on your merry way, and you ain't going to even get to touch one of her toenails. That's what's going to happen, goofy panderbear boy.
He's 100% right.
All this pandering, man, that is the most weak, pathetic thing you can do. You don't have to do that to get attraction or attention from women. Stop doing that. How about you peep game from masculine men like myself that don't have to do that to get attention from women? You can do it. Now you're going to have to go through some manhood training that you skipped in your childhood, but we can get you there. We can get you there. We can rebuild you and make you stronger, but you're going to have to leave the panderbearing and the simping behind. That ain't no good for nobody, boy.
Shout out to GBS for that video. Now we're going to dig into the specifics regarding these pontificating panderbears. And it was a good thing that I did this video because it actually gave me an opportunity to think about the differences between simps and panderbears. Now while the list that I put together is by no means comprehensive, I definitely added enough to get the point across. So let's get into it. Now I do want to clarify that there are definitely overlaps between simps and panderbears, and occasionally one will drift from one to the other, but for the most part, both stay in their distinct categories. So let's get the similarities out of the way. Both are motivated by a chance to hop in bed with a female, cash or economic gain. Pastor pork chops are the best examples of this phenomenon, and they're more on the panderbear side. I'll get into that a little bit later. But simps as well occasionally are motivated by economics. Now we're kind of getting into the hobosexual category, but I digress. The next one is the ability to gain familial, social, or political support. This could be not wanting to upset family members in order to stay in good graces or not ruffle any feathers. It could also be trying to gain followers by regurgitating garbage talking points, or simply trying to gain voters by using all the feminine talking points that are old and worn out. Now let's get into the differences. So I've noticed that a simp typically focuses in on one woman or a select group of women. Simps typically become obsessed, and they're led by emotions. And this gets into the next point. They really don't have a mental backbone. Almost like a jellyfish, they'll just go with whatever a woman says. They'll cave and cower to specific women, and they're really just obedient chumps. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that simps aren't physically strong. Some simps are 6'5", 300 pounds all muscle, but don't have a mental backbone nor the integrity and honesty it takes to tell women the harsh truths. And this is dangerous because that actually leaves females in more danger. Next, they'll do damn near anything to get attention from a female who has halfway decent looks. And when I say anything, that really does mean anything. These are the types of people who catch cases, commit violent acts, spend exorbitant amounts of money. Kind of getting into the trick category here, but they'll do just about anything to get the attention of a woman. Okay, now let's get into the panderbear, because the panderbear is a little bit different. He'll cast his net far and wide. He doesn't care if he's talking to a 450-pound female, someone who's elderly in a nursing home. The panderbears are consistent in their quote-unquote lead generation for bedroom buddies. Now, unlike the simp, panderbears are typically led by a twisted logic. They think that by pandering, they'll be able to funnel enough women in to their lies so that they have an endless supply of gullible females, and at least one or two will be dumb enough to hop in bed with them. These are professional BS artists. Now, they secretly want to be in a masculine role, but they're not man enough to express this up front with women. A lot of times they're slick talkers who cater their messages specifically to tickle a woman's ears and make her have an unnatural or elevated view of herself. And when I say slick talker, this is not to be confused with a tight mouthpiece. People with tight mouthpieces don't have to pander. Alright, the next point is that a panderbear will attempt to intellectualize feminist talking points. This is what you saw in the post from GBS. They always have a weird, twisted justification, which will appeal to women, but it's not actually the truth. Now, the next point is, panderbears typically attack or put down other men. They'll say something along the lines of, "If you don't make $800,000 a year, you don't deserve to talk to women." Or, "Men need to step up and take care of all the baby mamas out there who have 4 or 5 baby daddies. You need to take care of another man's responsibility, and you should be happy to do so. That's what men do." It's hard for me to even get this out, but this is what they do. And at the end of the day, they really don't believe what they're saying. That's what some women don't understand. They don't believe a single word that's coming out of their mouths. And the last point is that panderbears will situationally use the playbook of a simp to get what they want, but in reality, again, they really want to be in a traditionally masculine role. They're just not brave enough, not strong enough, not mentally or spiritually fortified enough to tell the damn truth. And this is not a benign thing. This can be very dangerous, because if you tell a woman, "Hey, no matter what size you are, be positive, be happy with what you look like," that could lead to her having a heart attack early in life. If you tickle her ears and tell her her body, her choice, and that results in the death of an innocent child who's in her womb, now you have blood on your hands. So it's not an innocent thing. If you tell a woman, "You're just as strong as any man," you're lying to her, and you're putting her in a compromised situation in which she might try a man physically and end up in the hospital, or worse. Panderbears do not help the community. They're a detriment. And I'm specifically concerned about the black community, the FBA community. Other groups can operate how they want to operate, but I want to protect our sisters by helping them recognize when they're talking to someone who legitimately has their best intentions at heart versus when they're talking to someone who is just sitting there gassing their heads up like a goddamn airhead. So let's move on. I'm going to give you some red flags to look out for, sisters, so that you don't fall for the okie doke. Here's a list that I compiled. This is by no means the end-all be-all, but they're definitely things to look out for. And the first one being, he'll never correct women. A panderbear will see something blatantly wrong that a woman's doing, for example, twerking on a 7-year-old. That's PDF file behavior. But instead of correcting the woman, he'll say, "Where was the man? This is why men need to step up." He'll see a woman throwing a drink at a man and he'll say, "What did he do?" Just completely one-sided. He'll never address anything that a woman does in a way of correcting her. And what women don't understand is this isn't a sign of love. Only those who care about you will tell you the harsh things. If you come up to me talking and your breath smells like onion rings and bushmeat burgers, and I don't tell you, that's a sign that I really don't care about you. Now, it may seem harsh, it may be hard to hear, but a man who tells you that actually cares about you, is actually trying to save you from embarrassment and from lowering your value as a woman. Alright, the next point is they seemingly have no standards. Like I said before, a panderbear will cast his net far and wide. He'll pander to old ladies playing bingo, strippers, fat women who work at Target. There are no boundaries, or seemingly no boundaries, no standards. Because the panderbear actually does have standards, he's just not man enough to say it. He's not man enough to correct. And he really doesn't care about the women. He's just trying to get whatever he's trying to get out of them. Typically sexual access. Next point is they talk a lot, but they don't say much at all. A lot of times these panderbears will go on, talking for 30 minutes, and when you boil everything down, they could have said what they had to say in the span of maybe 2 minutes, even if the talking points were garbage. A lot of them think they're slick and think that by talking a lot and pandering, they're going to attract more women. The next point is, good things are never attributed to black men. So we're specifically talking about our community. And when these panderbears hear about the success of another black man, that doesn't make them feel better. That actually adds to their contempt. So they grudgingly acknowledge or simply ignore the positive things that black men do. Remember, they're walking on eggshells trying to please women. And so anything that could be attributed to another black man, oh no, we can't acknowledge that. Also, they never provide any real applicable solutions. It's all theory. It's all mumbo jumbo. And when you look at their personal lives, you'll see they never apply the garbage that they're spewing out of their mouths. And that gets to the last point. This is almost a guarantee when dealing with a panderbear. They'll use catchphrases like "she wears the pants," "girls rule," "what she says goes," "her body, her choice," "women have it so much harder than men," "the black woman is God." If you watch that video, which I did on this channel, you'll see that at the very beginning we had a lot of panderbears who were spewing this talking point. And I challenge you to look at their personal lives and look at the people you know who spew this talking point and tell me how their relationships with women are. Do they truly treat the black woman as if she's God? No. Even if it was true, which it's not, they clearly don't believe that. Again, they're BS artists. They secretly want to be in a masculine role but will not be man enough to lay the ground rules down beforehand. They want to hop in bed and then establish rules afterwards. And it doesn't work like that. And then last, king, queen, God, princess. Unfortunately, king, queen, that kind of talk, well, there is some truth to it. When I hear people using those terms, my antennas go up because I've seen it too many times in real life where people who use these terms are simply pandering to hop in bed with someone of the opposite sex. And if you challenge me on that point, I'll give you a few examples. Oh yes, I'm going here. This dusty goofball panderbear named Michaelericdyson. Now think about his life. This dude wrote a whole book called Why I Love Black Women. And every time he talks, he's pandering. Oh, my chocolatey delights, my coffee with no cream, your caramel charm, your cocoa charisma. And then where did he end up? Caught with his hands in the expired mayonnaise jar while being a married man. And while I'm on this subject, he's been married 3 different times, if I'm not mistaken. So all that pandering of why I love black women and this and that means absolutely nothing. He's pandering. But you can tell he's casting his net far and wide. There have been all kinds of sexual misconduct allegations regarding him. And while he seemingly has no standards, he secretly wants to be in a quote-unquote masculine role. Again, think back to the chart that I made. He's not focused on one woman or a select group of women. He's casting his net far and wide. He's led by twisted logic. He's a BS artist, a slick talker. He does not have a tight mouthpiece. He attempts to intellectualize feminist talking points. He puts down other men, especially black men, and occasionally he displays simp behavior. But he really wants to be in that masculine role. This is a panderbear, a perfect example of one. But he's not the only one. Think of other people who use that king, queen talk. Umarjohnson. Think of the relationship he has with the black woman in his life. He was in the black woman is God video as well. You see, these panderbears don't believe what they're saying. One more great example of pontificating panderbears would be the pulpit pimps. Think about it. They match the attributes of a panderbear to a T. They never correct women. They seemingly have no standards. They'll appeal to old church ladies, old, fat, young, married, it doesn't matter. They say a lot and don't say much at all. They never attribute good things to black men. They rarely provide applicable solutions. And they use buttered up phrases to manipulate women into thinking that they're all in and down with the program. But in reality, they want to be in a masculine role. They're just not man enough to say it. So these are pontificating panderbears. And I want our women to keep in mind, the people who care about you the most tell you the difficult truths. And think about it, women, you don't want a panderbear for a man. What are you going to do with the likes of Michaelericdyson? What are you going to do with an Umarjohnson? What are you going to do with a pulpit pimp? See, sometimes you just have to break things down in a way that makes sense. You don't want a yes man around you who will tell you anything you want to hear just so he can hop in bed with you. Now, I will say this, you also don't want the opposite. You don't want someone who's constantly railing on females and panders to men as if there are no improvements to be made. You want a person who gives a balanced approach, one who will call things right up the middle. Those are the people who actually care about you. So hopefully this video has been helpful. I know the Pander-bears are going to be mad at this one. Because yeah, I had to tell them. I had to pull back the curtain on you spineless, feckless males who are actually very dangerous and detrimental to the community. So with all that being said, be one and be blessed, family. Peace.